Good afternoon, everybody. This is Ekta Sehgal Malhotra. Welcome to the Motherhood Club talk show. Today, we have an esteemed guest, a mother who has chosen a very interesting topic. And I am really looking forward to hear her because I think that is one challenge that a lot of us as parents face. So, we have Dr. Kavita Loya Bajpai with us. She works with special children and she comes from the education space. I always feel that if the person who is here as a guest, if she introduces herself more in detail, she does more justice than me reading out her biography. So we welcome Kavita Bajpai, and the topic that she's going to be talking about is full-time parent, part-time friend. So Kavita, welcome to the show. And over to you to introduce yourself and take us through your journey of motherhood and to talk about how you were, you know, successful in being a full-time parent and a part-time friend. Kavita has a young daughter who's very, very talented, and like
Two
mother, like daughter,
daughters.
two
I have
daughters, sorry,
two daughters.
two
Yeah.
daughters. So like mother, like daughter,
Yeah.
uh, very, very talented. So over to you, Kavita.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ekta. And it's such a pleasure to be here because this is one the discussion or a chat. I won't call it a chat show because I feel that more than a show, it is more of heart to heart conversation between parents and as we women, we have two lives before, so we very that to have our maiden name as well as your married name. So this is how my full name is, and I have been into education for good 22 years. Started my career as an educator, but always wanted to start my own venture. And today I have already started a venture which is almost a year old. It's a young baby, a K-12 setup in international segment. So basically, it is an international school. And yeah, I have been a ardent heritage lover because heritage is something which I feel it connects us to our roots. And with the special needs children or the children with the special needs is something they pull me towards them. So though I'm not a trained or I'm not a certified the special needs educator, but I love to spend time with them because sometimes I feel yeah, training is important, but also what is important is understanding. So this is what I am on my professional side. On my personal front, yes, as Ekta said, I've got two daughters, teenagers now. Elder one is 16, younger one is 13. Both of them are like any other teenager. They have a lot to talk, they have a lot to share, and they have a lot to opine as well. This is the best thing about this age group nowadays, because they have the opinion about almost everything, and sometimes they come up with a very strong opinion. And believe you me, if you try to analyze it, you find that they are too logical also in nature. So this is what about my girls. And yeah, I stay in Mumbai with my husband, and I have a son too, a four-legged baby, a furry baby. We very fondly call him Easter. So this is our family here. And yeah, so as Ekta was asking about the topic, because this topic, what I feel is, especially being a mother of teenager daughters, I feel that this is one thing where most of the parents we struggle. We want to be very open to our children, and we most of the time we tell them, okay, treat us as your friend and share what you want to. So we try them to be, we try to be their friends, as well as as a parent also, what we do is we have our own role to play. We have our certain rules to be in place. We also have couple of the ethos what we really want to inculcate amongst our children. So when we try to look at this part, I always feel that as a parent, and these are my personal views, and so far, yes, with these views, I feel that yes, things are going pretty well on my personal front. So I feel that yes, we should not ever forget that we are the parents first, and then of course comes the friends. So that's how I always always say that, especially with case of a teenager children, it has to be a full-time parent and a part-time friend, because your responsibility increases like anything. Like when you are actually dealing with the age group which is 16, 13, 14, 15, 18, so they do analyze, they do have their own views, they do have their own way of looking at the thing, they have their own perspective, yet they are too naive. They have not seen the world, they only see what they see through social media or in their school or their friend circle, so that becomes a world for them. So this is the age where we find that yeah, these children, they become too sensitive. Suddenly something makes them too happy, and suddenly on the other, I mean, in no time suddenly they feel very low, that as if the whole world is over. So I think this is a time where they have to do a lot of emotional balance also within themselves. Of course, they have to go through a lot of hormonal changes as well, and there are a lot many other things where they try to settle, because there is a pressure on making the correct choices in terms of subjects, making the correct choice in terms of career, getting the good grades, being seen everywhere as the all-rounder. I think knowingly or unknowingly, this is the pressure what society has already built upon, and all these children, they do struggle with that. So the role of a parent becomes more important than the role of a friend. So that's how I my entire discussion come from.
Correct. While you're talking about teenage girls over here, but as a mother of a nearing about 4 years old, I think, I think this is what is called the generation gap. That,
Mm-hmm.
the full-time parent and part-time parent, as I understand from you, that, you specifically spoke that, because your girls are teenagers, so, you have to now be a friend also to them to be able to understand, what's really going on in their mind. But I think with the kind of
Right,
generation
right.
gap that is there, these kids
Mm-hmm.
at 4, I think we have to
Mm-hmm.
adopt that strategy with them also. Because they are very opinionated, they have their
Absolutely.
own mind even at 4, and they throw their tantrums. So I think the new teenage age is not
Oh
13,
yes.
but it's like 4 or 5. What do you think about this?
Yes, I mean, I can totally relate to, because yes, there are children in the family where I think they're born smart. So, and they have been given so much of exposure, so much of, space and freedom to express themselves, which was not very common or very normal at our time. And of course, when I look at my girls also, so I think, yeah, they were exposed, but they were not the tab babies or they were not the internet babies. Nowadays, if you look at these children, they are internet babies, and I think they are quite pro in nature, they're very smart. So yeah, and they know how to get the things done, so the tantrums come from there. They know, okay, if I do this, mama will do this, or if I do this, so dad will give me this. So I think it's all about the smartness. So as you rightly said, the generation gap, yes, even I feel there is a huge generation gap. It's just not 24, 25 years, what is the age gap what I and my girls have, but I think it is way beyond, because our generation was something else. I think we grew up with that black phone set in the center of the house, and the whole house is running around that receiving the call. And these are the children, they are born with those mobile phones in their hands. So that is a
Absolutely.
difference, and they have a lot of exposure. But now, what happens is, like, as your daughter's age, that's such a lovely age, it's a formative years, as we say. So this is the age where, again, you have to act as a friend and you have to act as a parent, because you have to bring in the right kind of the balance, when you have to inculcate the right values in them. I don't say that right values means one should be very traditional in nature, should be very orthodox or conservative, but I think the values, they have their own place, and that creates the attributes, and the child. So even if you want to make your child, say, reflective, then you have to create that situation where you are also getting equally involved with your child. This is reminding me one small episode which I have always practiced with my girls, if you allow me to share here.
Please, please.
When they were small, yeah. So you know what, when they were very young, and I have been fond of, I'm a collector, like my husband calls that my house is more like a museum. So yeah, seriously. So what I used to do is I have too many things, but I keep them on rotation. And when they were young, still, those big vase and all, you keep it on the floor. So there was a rule that anything which is broken, my girls were never ever scolded. And it's not that they broke many things, hardly two, three, but whatever has been broken, they were supposed to earn it. And how they were supposed to earn it, not in terms of rupees. There was a whiteboard in their room. So I remember once both of them, they were playing and they broke a vase. And now, so that vase was for 50 points, and I've written the cost of the vase 50 points, and they were to earn those 50 points by helping us. And suppose, even if I'm saying, okay, now serve this, give water to your dad, or maybe crease your own bed sheet, or whatever, very small little things. And they were very tiny at that time. I still remember they were 4 years and 7 years, and these are small little things I used to tell them. And or maybe just a simple thing, I said, okay, 4:30 I want to water the plants, you have to remind me at 4:25 that I have to water the plant. So for everything I used to allot them the point. And believe you me, till the time they reached that 50 point, they were so diligent because they wanted to reach to that. Yeah, of course, once that is over, everything is over because they felt that they've earned it. But that period of time probably has taught them how to value the time and how to value the things around. So at least they got the idea, okay, so anything else is going to be broken, they will again have to get back into helping mama mode. So probably they somewhere become little alert. So one attribute which I could bring them into at that time was being alert and aware of your surroundings.
This is wonderful.
So
This is wonderful.
so these are small little things. I'm sure as a parent we all have our own tricks and tips. But yeah, what I strongly feel, values are not enough. Attribute is something which needs to be developed. A child
Absolutely.
has to be reflective, a child has to be confident, a child has to be alert and aware. So there are a couple of things which we can actually frame, like how we want to see our child, as in we have our own picture, okay, this should be what our child in future. But I think what stages or what steps we have taken from our side, that's very important. So
Absolutely. In fact, there is a very interesting comment that has come on Facebook, which is that that's a good idea, what you just shared. But my
oh
little
god.
girl will ask me, how did I arrive at these points? So, so I think these kids are very smart. And
Very
what you just
smart, yeah.
said completely resonates with me, being in the field of finance and, where I've been talking to a lot of parents that please involve
Yeah.
the money matters or the understanding of money with kids. Well, you have, you put points to them. I tell them that, okay, give them a little pocket money so that, they understand the value and everything. So, of course, whether
Right.
it is money or
Yeah.
points, and maybe a step to what Kavita is saying is that maybe these points could eventually they could redeem for something. So then that
Because
would,
that was a time, no, I'm sorry, I'm
yeah,
cutting you in between, because that was a time my younger one was not introduced to the concept of money at the age of 4.
absolutely
So the points were more valid for me because she knew the number 1 to 100.
correct.
Yeah,
No,
so
it's a
she knew that.
brilliant thing
Yeah.
you do because I think I think it's a perfect example of a full-time parent and a part-time friend because in a very friendly manner, in a very playful manner, you were able to explain them so much with that just one activity of accumulating those points. You didn't really lose
Thank you.
your
Thank you.
cool. So I think that's wonderful. Uh, so you do agree that the full-time parenting being a part-time friend should not be at an age specific thing or should
No,
be
no.
very
No, no,
beginning.
I don't think so. It should be age specific. Even when, like the age of your daughter, then who's 4, or the age of my girls, 13 or 16, or maybe, even till date, if I look at myself, I know sometimes I need my parents as my guide and my mentor. And sometimes I need them only to give me, to lend their ear, or maybe just to give, a patient hearing. So we now, once we are adult or we are into that phase, I think we ourselves can identify when we need a parent as a parent and when we need them as a friend. But till the
Absolutely.
time they are not able to, I think this role we have to balance it out. Somewhere this balancing is very important.
So, Kavita, have you ever experienced that, children, I think, are way too smarter as compared to the parents. And, we parents think that we are smart, but I think they are, if not more, at least 10 steps ahead of us. So,
Oh.
has it ever happened that
Ask
this
me, it happens every
exactly.
day, every
So does it happen that they are immediately you know uh, are able to catch up with that mummy is a friend, so let me take some liberties. And when
uh,
that liberties are taken, then there is sometimes there is a very thin line between being a parent and then getting to be friends with them. So
yeah, yeah.
how did you manage that, and how would you suggest that parents like us, who are very new to the whole parenthood or motherhood, should tackle that? Because we see that happening. Like the moment we say, okay, we are your friends, okay, it's all like backfiring on us. So how do you handle that?
Yeah. So first of all, let me congratulate you for to come up with such a noble thought, because there is no fixed formula of parenting. So I think with such kind of the discussion what we are having today, I'll be learning a lot from you. You will be getting maybe few points from me, and while going through all your chats, I get to know a lot. Like, okay, this can also be a side of parenting. So first of all, congratulations
Thank
to
you so
that.
much. Thank you so much.
Second thing is, yes, it happened, and it happened almost every day. Like when my girls are telling me something, oh mom, arey yaar, oh damn, you don't understand, and then suddenly they will say something. I said, so that is the time. Oh yaar, fine, but damn you, or are you dumb? These are the words when you get it. Then I have to check them. I said, hello, I'm dumb or no dumb, but you can't call me that. I'm your parent. I'm your mother. So that immediately I have to remind. So it's not that I have to be very strict with them, but I have to correct, because sometimes what happens, no, out of over excitement or being so overwhelmed, they go in a flow and then they forget what they are saying and what is around. That is one thing. Second thing, what happens is when they just try to take the liberty, when they know, okay, the online classes, the virtual classes are happening. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So when these virtual classes are on, and when there are so many other things, when these children are too busy, so we also feel like, okay, I mean, they are getting so exhausted. So we try to be a little more, soft with them. And the moment they feel, okay, this softness, and if this is coming into, as a tool for them, and then I feel that this tool needs to be nailed right then and there only, because I feel that, and again, I'm saying this is my personal experience and personal views, but I do believe in correcting them then and there only. The reason being, because this is their age. Maybe the age what your daughter is, you cannot correct her immediately. Maybe you will let her go with the flow, and then maybe through a story or through some other episode, you will say, okay, you said the other day mama felt so bad. So you may start like that. But at this age, if I don't have to stop them, and I don't have to correct them, then I will not get the opportunity to tell them the story. So
Absolutely.
so I think
Absolutely.
with every age our reaction has to be different. So that's what I'm saying, there's no fixed formula to that. But I feel correcting them passively or actively, in whichever way you feel is suitable or is the need of the hour, is very important. Because somewhere, yes, they are the friend, they must understand the parents are their friends when they have to pour their heart out, but they should also understand that they are the parents. So that respect quotient should be there. That, I
Absolutely.
won't say that fear should be there, but that respect, as well as somewhere one thin line should be there, that okay, this is what has been drawn and I don't have to cross that. So I mean, this is a very impromptu kind of the balancing act what we have to do. So we have to be equally alert and aware. So
Correct.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, has it ever, I mean, I don't know how to ask this. Let me try and articulate it. Like I said, that children are very smart to catch cues,
Hmm.
right? So,
Hmm.
have you ever felt that, being a part-time friend has been a little overwhelming for them or for
um
you?
See, I tell you, if you ask me, yes, as a parent, yes. To them, what happens is they get a lot of space and a lot of scope where they can come and share. Of course, they have their own side also. But what I feel as a parent, especially the kind of generation we come from, we have seen our parents as parents also only, to a great extent. Of course, we were very free. We used to talk a lot. We used to get everything done from our parents, and all our tantrums were there, and they stayed there for long. But I think that friend quotient, it took time to come. And until date, with my dad, I won't say that I'm on a friendly note with him. I don't connect with him on a friend kind of a thing. But I always used to connect with my mother on a friend, the page. So yeah, coming back to this, so as a parent I feel sometimes it is because you are doing some work and suddenly your daughter is coming or your son is coming, mama, this happened, and then you have to listen to it. Okay, so what happened? And then at the end of the story you will find it is so silly, which even these children are going to laugh maybe after few days or few months or maybe once they grow. But right now this is the most important thing for them. Like there is a girl in my I'll be just giving the examples from my day to day life only. So there's a girl who my daughter feels is stalking her. She's in her class. Yeah, of course teachers also feel that she is a kind of maybe that kind of the influence is there, so that she tries to copy Timsa, my elder one. Now Timsa, my elder one, she feels so uncomfortable with the presence of that girl around. So today also, mama, my basketball lessons are starting, and you know what, that ABC girl is also there. I said, come on Timsa, the world, the universe is so big. And yesterday only I was telling her, and I really took one uh, big lesson to her, and today I just had to remind it. So I told her yesterday, I said, must knowing how to space. If something encroaching that space, then you should be troubled. Otherwise you have no right to be troubled, because universe is so big and everyone has their own space. And even if you feel that the person is copying you, you have two ways. Either you should feel happy that you could do something so worthy that another person is getting influenced, or still if it is bothering you, then for how long one can copy? So you have to see the both the sides. So yesterday we had a good discussion. Then my daughter asked me, so do you ever had a friend like that? I said, till date it happens, and especially with the social media, you can feel. But at the end of the day, if you try to understand the psychology of the person whom you feel is talking you, then you realize, no, it may be that that person has never been given any exposure, and that person has developed so much affinity or fondness for you that you know copying you is something what the person enjoys. And sometimes it may not be the case, even you are getting stalked also. But the thing is, I mean, till the time someone is coming and encroaching your personal space, you should not be worried. Then again she asked me a couple of more questions. Did it happen in your school time and all those things, and I very patiently gave her the answer. So today when she come, mama, I'm not feeling very comfortable, even she's there in this batch. And then I said, Tim sir, do you remember what we discussed yesterday? She said, yeah, the space for everyone. That was exactly her reaction. I said, exactly. So then she went inside her class and then she came back again. I think, mama, you were right. This time she was very much busy with her own things. So sometimes I think working as a torchbearer, or sometimes when we have to show them like this can also be the perspective, is required and important. But then what happens is we actually, this the sense of overwhelming, as you said, it happens because every time, because when we all are virtually working and suddenly every time you have to pause your work and you have to attend to those not so very important talks, but yet very important. Then yes, sometimes you feel, I mean, our parents are very good. Yeah? I mean, they were like parents kind of a thing. So we as the children used to think 10 times, whether this to be asked, or few questions we knew the answers beforehand would be. We never ever went and asked. I remember there was a picnic which was going in college. So it was a 2-day picnic. All the girls and boys were going. I knew morning till evening, a day picnic, my parents will never stop me. But a picnic where only boys and girls are going, no elderly supervision, I'm sure they will never allow me. So I have never asked. But I don't think so. These children, they do like that. I mean, I think they are more vocal. They're more opine. They come and they will ask you. So yeah,
So,
it
so
happens.
yeah. So, do you tell? Have you ever told the girls that, look, I'm a friend of yours. Talk to me. Share your, the girly conversation that they would have with their other friends. If
Yeah.
and what is their reaction to it? I mean, are they really comfortable? As much as we parents want to be friends with them, as you said that it helps to build the trust.
Hmm,
We've got a
hmm,
comment
hmm.
also that it helps to build trust. But do children feel comfortable when parents tell them that, what, hey, I'm also your friend. You can talk to me. You can be yourself with me. Does that really happen?
Yeah. See, it's a process. If one fine day you're just coming and saying that, it will never happen. Even children will be zonked while looking at you. What's wrong with you? Correct, but it's a process, and I always feel that you have to build on to it. So I always knew that, yes, being in the nuclear family, being with the girls around, being a working mom, my husband is also most of the time out. Somewhere I knew that I have to develop certain, things in the family atmosphere where my children should be very comfortable. So the friend quotient should automatically come. I never have to tell them that I'm your friend. That I was very clear. Until that, I have never said that treat me as your friend and share. Rather, I've created that comfort zone. Like, I remember even till date, as I told you, pausing your work and listening to them. So giving them a very active listening is very important. So now children know that you are approachable. Then, I have also set certain clear rules about the behavior. Like, this is the behavior which is acceptable and which is not acceptable. Then, even if for certain times the rules are broken, so listening to them very calmly and patiently was something which I have done. And till date, anything which is broken in the house, whether the object or the rule or anything else, I don't think so me or my husband we have ever raised our voice. My husband sometimes he does, and my children know that who's the savior. But yes, I have never ever done it, because I always feel the moment I will lose my temper, probably I will not be able to give them the real mentoring which is required. Because more than the parent, right now the mentoring is required, because somewhere we are mentally prepared. By the time they are 18, they're 12 past, they are out. Once they are out, it's rarely the vacation or the family gatherings when we are getting to see them. So I really never wanted to repent on the part that I was so strict as a mom, or I have scolded them so much and all those things. But yes, I setting up certain rules is something which has been very, very important. Then I also encourage them, how to self reflect. That is very important. So whenever anything wrong had happened, I always went at the end and I said, try to see whether it went wrong or whether it went right. So the kind of, and then, you are trying to teach them to be reflective, and yet you're trying to teach them to be non-judgmental. That was another task. Then, of course, leading my example is something which is very much important. So I don't think so I have ever said that when I was at your age I used to do this, because I cannot compare my time with their time. Yes, sometimes you feel, as a parent you feel real frustrated, I'm telling you. But I think that is the time when your husband, who happens to be of the same generation, comes as a savior, where you can actually speak. Or maybe your friends, they come as a savior, there we can pour our heart out. But I don't think so comparing our time with these children time is as required. Then I always allowed them to fight their own battles, but I always said that I'm there. If you are right, I will be there to support you. And more so, the most important thing is, taking your children very seriously when they're saying something to you. And if you're listening to them very patiently and you're taking their talks very seriously, they feel as if, they are a very important part of the discussion, or what they are saying, they are being heard. So the moment they have that feeling that they are being heard, I think gradually the feeling of friend, or maybe a guide or a philosopher, or everything starts settling in. So it's not that we can be their friend or they can treat us as their friend. I don't think so it can ever happen. But at least that kind of the comfort environment can be created, where these children, they can actually, come and they can talk to you. I remember once I was just asking my elder one, and then my younger one also. I asked. I said, "Okay, so there's no boy in your class whom are you very good friends with?" So my elder one said, "Yeah, I to only gel with the boys." I said, "Yeah, I know, but there's no boyfriend." Mama, are you crazy? I don't have a boyfriend. So then, after some time, this is not a very recent talk. I'm talking about when my younger one was in grade 3. She came and she said, "Mama, there's a boy in my class and I really like him." I said, "Wow. So what do you like about him?" "I don't know, but I really like to talk to him." I said, "Okay, so he's your good friend?" "Yeah, maybe, or maybe my boyfriend." So I said, "Okay." And then I had to tell her, I said, "Okay, so how do you know about this boyfriend thing?" And then she told me a couple of stories. So it's not that somewhere I had to say, "No, no, 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 you can't have the boyfriend," or, this is wrong, or this is bad, or only bad girls do this. Or, I mean, there is all sort of mindsets, right? So then I had to tell them. So somewhere they know, okay, their mother is ready to talk about this also. And once all this happened, and then I was just talking to my girls, and both of them, they go to a school which is a kind of a boutique school which has a limited number of children. It's a very beautiful school in Mumbai. So I was just telling them, I said, even if you have to find out their boyfriend, you feel that you should find in the school. So they said, why are you talking like that? Both of them, they said. I said, no, I'm just thinking because your school already, it has just 500, 600 children. Out of that, of your, the children who really gel well with you or of the similar, wavelength, they must be 100 in number. And say if there are 50 boys, so are you going to choose out of just 50? They said, Mama, are you crazy? What are you talking? I said, no, I'm just trying to figure it out if it is going to happen ever. So, I'm very sure, I'm lucky that they're not on Facebook. So, very openly, I can say that, what happened is somewhere I've secured myself, that mother's jittery behavior that, they should not
You
get into.
these mothers at the teenage age have this very bad habit of asking these questions, and
This
poking
is
and
not
poking.
bad. No. Then I have, I have shared my own experiences as well. It's not that, no. So,
Actually,
even
that was
my,
my next question to you.
yeah,
Especially that you mentioned that that we should, or one shouldn't really say that when I was your age, so I did this.
yeah,
Uh, what do you think that if we share a little bit about our own life with them? Of course, not everything, because, but being since you being a friend also to the child, is it good to talk about some of your failures and success to the children for
I
them
do.
to understand
I
that
do.
it's
I do.
okay to fail?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I do. So if you ask my children, they will tell you the best story of mama. Their mama who got 100 on 100 in grade 10 board exams, who got 45 on 100 in grade 6. They know about it. So they know, so basically what I'm saying is I never compare, but I always tell them how one can evolve. I know sometimes, what I'm saying, it may sound very bookish because I'm saying everything together. But if you try to divide that into bits and pieces, and with your day-to-day life, you try to fit in, one or the other thing, then you will find that it is very easy. And I do discuss. So when the day we were talking about the crush, as I said, so I said my crush is still there, and I seriously adore him even till date. So they're like, are you serious? I said, ask your dad. So then dad said, yeah, Anil Kumble. I mean, till date, I'm a huge fan of him. So when we talk like that, so children feel that, okay, it is very natural.
It's normal to talk about all these things.
Yeah, it's normal. And also periods is something which is a big taboo. And I knew that I've been into traveling and I was establishing my work and my girls are in that age. So I made it very clear. So once when I was talking to them that, see, I'm going out, I have kept everything whichever is required. In case it is required, you need to tell it to your dad. So I remember once Timsa, my elder one, yeah, she was calling me and she said, Ki, Mama, we need sanitary pads. So can you just come while coming back from work? Can you bring it? So I said, why don't you call your dad? She said, Dad? I said, yes, do that. He said, it's in the hospital. He is the faster one to bring it. Though it was not the emergency, but I said, you tell him. So she called up. So that was the day, and today is the day. So maybe sometimes when she's in cramps or tummy ache or something, then she would very openly say, Dad, you know what is it? So I cannot get up. My tummy is aching and all those things. So that freedom is there. So
Absolutely.
basically, what I'm trying to tell you is to work upon the taboo with your children. So automatically, the quotient of the friend, and when I say the friend quotient, is something where you want you act a very selfish parent. At least I act as a very selfish parent when I say I'm friend to them, because I want to know everything what is happening, and I want to give them that space so that they are coming and sharing it with me, because it's a very tender age. I really don't want to, I mean, not only me, none of us want our parent to get into any trouble. I mean, our children to get into any trouble. So then the best way is to know everything is to win their faith and give them the space to speak. So we have spoken on everything. In fact, the other day my younger one chose a topic when she was to speak on some in some symposium. So she chose a topic about LGBT community. So my husband said, do you know about it? She said, yeah, ask me the question. So he said, so my husband was looking at me. He said, what is she talking? I said, yeah, so ask the question. No, at least you should know how she's answering. So then again he was looking at me. He said, don't you think so it will be too open? I said, see, this is the beauty. I'm sure what her teacher has told her, what research she has done, she will also learn how to present it decently in front of you. she would try to choose the word where she knows that how to talk about it, as well as you will be also giving her the space where she can talk about it.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's so
So
true. That's so
yeah,
true.
so that happens. And in fact, the other day I was just laughing at my husband when I was just telling him, I said, I was asking about their boyfriend. So they said, yeah, the boys are there, this is there. So they said, so what fun are you getting out of it? I said, no, I'm just getting certain assurance and reassurance, like what is going on in their life and how, what kind of the girls they are going to be. I said, I have no problem, even if they talk about homo or whatever they talk about, but at least I should be aware of, because I don't want a third person coming and telling me something. I want to know it. So I told my girls also, I said, whatever it is, why I want to know is because if someone else is coming and who's telling me that so and so is happening, then I will certainly cover it up. I will say, yeah, I know. But you must understand, when I'm saying, yeah, I know, it means there is a lot which is breaking inside me. So yeah, so my girls, they say you play very beautifully with your words, and you make us all emotional, and you let us speak, everything what you want, you get it out from us. So I know, they know that their mama plays very smart, I know that I play very selfish, but at the end of the day it is for them. So it happens. So yeah, we do talk a lot about, and on purpose I start a discussion on the topics which has been considered as taboo, because that gives me, not only to me, again, as a very smart and selfish parent, so my children, they get a feel that, okay, mama, we can talk anything to her, it is like that. So
So, does
it
your
is being smart.
husband also believe in this philosophy of being friends with the children, part-time friends, or as you share that taboo part, like typically fathers
Yeah.
from generation to generation have always been uncomfortable to talk certain things with the daughters, right?
Yeah. So as I said, of course, with the periods thing, when it happened, I had to train my husband for that. I said, see, I am going to make it happen that they are going to talk to you, and you have to listen to them. You just don't have to, hide your face here and there, and you don't have to say that, go and talk to your mama. So I had to, so, but what I do is I, fine tune him before, because as you rightly said, we, especially our generation, has been, conditioned as a man and a woman, or a girl and a boy. So that conditioning is very much there in his mind, and of course it is there in my mind too. But the thing is, one thing, maybe being in the education, since I have worked with so many teenage children, and I've seen how their parents used to struggle, probably this has given me, the insight that no, these are the changes what I have to bring in. So maybe from others mistakes or others experiences, I try to bring in. But with my husband, sometimes I do have to fine tune. As I said, this LGBT, he was not at all comfortable. He said in their school, they pick up any topic. What is her age? She's in grade 6, and what topic are they talking about? I said, then what is wrong in this topic? I mean, so then this kind of the fine tuning is required. And sometimes when I feel, and it is too impromptu a discussion, then our favorite thing is we discuss it sitting in our kids room only, my daughter's room. And from there, when I know that I have fine tuned my husband, or maybe before, after that discussion, if I just tell him, like, today we were talking about it, we may talk about it once again in front of you, and you are not going to overreact. So this man, he listens, because his weakness is, I always say, I said, for how long they're here? Just 18. Elder one is already 16. 2 years she'll go. So he tries to, yeah, I mean, very, very cooperative.
Is he
Because
around?
he,
Is he home listening to
yeah,
us?
very, very much home, but he's in the other room. I mean, you know how the virtual calls are, so all are busy. But
Right, right.
he knows, and I'm very
But
openly, I say this to
Kavita,
him.
there is a very important message in this entire part where you've spoken, that you spoke to the girls very openly, whether it was about the menstrual phase or LGBT, and you even spoke to your husband. Now, just imagine a situation that if these were not two girls that you had, but if it was someone who had boys, and if they openly discuss things with them about the whatever the gender equality or the changes in the hormones. Of course boys also go through all those things. If all
Hmm.
those things are discussed, do
Hmm.
you think that we would cut down so much of eve teasing, so much of that the adrenaline rush that boys go
Yeah.
through in the teenage age
True, true,
would
true.
cut down on so much of crime if all parents start thinking like this for an open conversation. I know it is not really a part of the full-time parent or part-time
No, no,
friend,
but it is
but
something
it is
very
something
important.
yeah.
Very, yeah, very relevant. No, absolutely. What you're saying, I think this is the change. And this is another thing which I always say, this generation is very girl friendly. I'm not saying generic kind of the statement. No, it is not a very generic statement. But I'm talking about the families like your and mine. And there are thousands of families around who have started understanding the importance of girls around and who have started giving them the space. Though I always feel that why this should be a special topic, that girls have been given space because they deserve it. But again, the conditioning comes into
Of
the
course.
action. So I think nowadays, if what the major change what I have seen is, yes, even in the family which has a boy and a girl, girl has been given a lot of importance, and boy, अरे ये तो कुछ नहीं करता है, ये पढ़ता भी नहीं है, ऐसा है, वैसा है, all those things. So what you rightly pointed out is very much required, because here somewhere, again, unknowingly, we are doing a passive gender discrimination where we are putting in all our energy on the girls to groom them a very empowered girls, right, or empowered woman in future. But I think to boys, we are not empowering with our thoughts, or we are not empowering their emotions. Still I think the thing is, अच्छा लड़का होके रोता है, all those
Yeah,
things are very much
absolutely,
there.
absolutely. What a
Yeah,
statement you've made, that we, while of course that that whole thing, ki, beti ko padhao, beti bachao, and all that. In fact, there was this in one of my initial days of writing poetry, I wrote something on this, that boss, you're talking about beti bachao, beti padhao. I would say ladke ko padhao. Educate the
I
guy's
know.
mind, because
Absolutely,
the
absolutely.
girls have always been empowered in some way or the other, but now with that over focus on that, the
Hmm.
boys are being left behind. And I
True.
think change will only happen when both are equally empowered and
Absolutely,
stand alone.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
brilliant conversation, Kavita. You have in very humorous way also have conveyed such important points that not only should we be parents, but we should
Thank you
be
so much. Thank
mentors.
you.
I don't think many parents would really think like this, that we should be mentored, because especially at the crucial age that your girls are, where they are teenagers, and one is almost just 2 years short of being an adult, where she's
Yeah.
going to be charting her own territory and carving her own path. So,
True.
beautiful messages or insight that Kavita has given us. But Kavita, before we wind up this conversation, one message that you would like to give to all the parents, mothers who are watching us currently, or who would eventually, watch this, what would be your one advice or message to them?
May I ask one thing before answering this
Sure,
message
please.
question? Do we have some time? Because I really want to recite a poem which I have written
Oh,
about these
please,
children,
please do,
and
please
then
do.
probably my message, that poem will cover the
Please,
message.
please,
Yeah,
please.
you have to
Yeah.
give me some time, because when I was talking to you, I remember that yes, I wrote it long back. So just give me some time. I
Please,
mean,
please.
a few seconds, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
will be right here with my poem. Yeah,
Sure,
I'm very much here. Just the
sure,
thing is, I have to search, so the camera might go off.
sure. No worries, no worries. So, everybody who's listening to us, there were very important points that Dr. Kavita Loya Bajpai mentioned. She spoke about mentoring. She spoke about being friends with your children. At the same time, maintaining the respect and dignity of parents as well as children. Create the kind of environment that the children feel comfortable to talk to you on any subject, be it to the mother or the father. It is not necessary that if you have daughters, so they only should be freely talking to the father, or if you have sons, they should be only open for a man to man conversation with their father. Times have changed, parenting techniques have changed. Well, the underlying is still the same. We all want good and the best for our children in terms of values, in terms of learning and development. Also, a very important thing that Kavita spoke about was that we need to empower our children, both girls as well as boys. Let's not discriminate. Let's not differentiate. And a statement that she made, which is heard most often than not, "Ladka hai, रोएगा क्या लड़की के जैसे, don't be a sissy girl. These are the kind of words that we hear. So if we parents change our mindset towards grooming our children, we will create a wonderful world to live in. And then both our boys and girls will be safe in this environment that we live in. Yes, Kavita, we are waiting for your poem.
Yeah, so I hope you all like that. It is something, the anxiety, or it is something, the confusion or the ambiguity, we all parents go through that. And then what happens towards the end of the day? Uh, then by the time we realize that, yes, we should have given some time, I think that time is already gone. So it's a humble request. And since I'm reading it out, so I have to adjust my camera a bit. So if I'm not looking at the screen, kindly pardon me, because that's right now what is important is reading the poem.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So here it goes. थोड़ी और कोशिश करके तो देखो. This is the title of my poem, and I love writing in Hindi, so the entire thing goes in Hindi. So कभी उस खामोशी को पढ़कर तो देखो, कभी उस खामोशी को पढ़कर तो देखो, उस गुम होती हंसी को ढूंढ कर तो देखो, कभी समझो वो उलझन जो बस संकोच नहीं है, पढ़ी उन गांठों को खुद सुलझ कर तो देखो, वो गाड़ियां वो कपड़े बड़े ब्रांड वाले, सब कुछ तो है बस समय के हैं लाले, वो गाड़ियां वो कपड़े वो बड़े ब्रांड वाले, सब कुछ तो है बस समय के हैं लाले, उस अनमोल समय को न बांध पाया कोई, जो सामने है वो लम्हा पकड़ कर तो देखो, मित्र हूं सखी हूं कि शॉर्टकट से ऊपर, मित्र हूं सखी हूं कि शॉर्टकट से ऊपर, ताकत हूं तुम्हारी ये कहकर तो देखो, ये नाटा रह गया वो मोटी हो गई, कम मार्क्स से नाक छोटी हो गई, ये नाटा रह गया वो मोटी हो गई, कम मार्क्स से नाक छोटी हो गई, ये सुनने सुनाने के दिन तो नहीं है, बच्चे हैं हमारे कोई प्रोडक्ट नहीं है, तुम हो हमारे और हम हैं तुम्हारे, कुछ अपना नजरिया बदल कर तो देखो, नहीं आसा इस कच्ची उम्र का होना, नहीं आसान इस कच्ची उम्र का होना, वो तानों वो उम्मीदों वो शोषण को धोना, वो तानों वो उम्मीदों वो शोषण को ढोना, उस सोशल मीडिया की हैप्पी पोस्ट से हटकर, वो सोशल मीडिया की हैप्पी पोस्ट से हटकर, वो ऑफलाइन खुशियां सहेज कर तो देखो, न कहना है आसान न करना है मुश्किल, न कहना है आसान न करना है मुश्किल, बस इन बच्चों को इंसान समझ कर तो देखो, हम हैं तुम्हारे और तुम हो हमारे, ये कहने के साथ साथ कर कर देखो, पावर न दो एम्पावर करो इन्हें, पावर न दो एम्पावर करो इन्हें, जमाने से ऊपर बिठा कर तो देखो, ये थोड़ी सी कोशिश कर तो देखो, ये थोड़ी सी कोशिश कर तो देखो.
Absolutely brilliant, beautifully written. You, I think you've just covered it up in its entirety. That how, as parents, we should nurture and groom our children. May I request you if you could post this on our group for others to read and get inspired as to what you have written. It will be an honor to have this poem on our
And it
group.
will be an honor for me, and I will certainly do it. I'm getting the goosebumps. Whenever I read this, I get the goosebumps.
I
So,
I'm not saying it, but I mean I can so feel the emotions in it, and you've just hit the nail. You've just it's just beautiful. I have no words to really express.
thank you. Thank
But
you
do
so
but please
much.
do share this
I will.
on the
I
group.
soon after this, since after this conversation, I'm so overwhelmed and so encouraged that I was planning to record it and share it. So I will certainly do that.
That will be even
Will
wonderful.
do.
That will be in fact you are the second mother. The first one was Lakshmi, who had shared a poem which she had written for her son when he was going to the hostel, and you are the second one. It's beautiful. In fact, I think I should reach out to Lakshmi and request her also to
Yeah.
share it. And I'm
She's
sure
a beautiful person.
yeah,
She's a lovely
I'm
person
sure
inside
Lakshmi
out.
is, watching us, and I will reach out to her also. I don't know how I slipped, telling her for
No,
that,
but I
but
tell
it's
you the reason
super.
behind writing this poem. I wrote it long ago, almost a year ago, when there was a orientation program, and the parents were gathered there. And at that time, I found all sort of discussions were happening, and then my each line, you can feel, you can say that that was maybe a statement from one parent, one or the other parent. So everything, then I find that, that ambiguity, that anxiety of being the best parent is very much there. But I think we don't know the process, because as I said, it's a process. It cannot be overnight. And I'm telling you, at the end of the process, once your children are away from you, they are in their hostel, they are settled in their professional life, when you look back, I'm sure you will feel that these are the things we could have done it better. Because it's a process. We are not talking about a product, or we are not talking about a journey or anything else. It is, the parenting is a process. Again and again, I'm saying, I always say that it just can't happen overnight. It can't happen through the any workshop or anything. But certainly, Ekta, the what you have started, my request to you is to continue with this, because I think these discussions will enlighten all of us and will bring the best out of us to be, if not the best, but a parent come friend, or a full-time parent, part-time friend kind of
Absolutely,
relationship.
Kavita. This kind of talk show had always been on the mind, and I have no qualms in accepting here that it is absolutely enriching for me. I mean, I'm a new mother. My daughter is just about 4 years
Yeah,
old,
I've
and
seen such a cutie pie she is.
and indeed, when we have these conversations, there is nothing that I really need to prepare to come to talk to you, and I'm sure even for you, because what we
Same,
are
same.
talking is a
Yeah,
journey. And there is so much, as you also mentioned, that we take back so much from these conversation. You learn something, you unlearn something,
yeah,
I mean, it's really very humbling to see that all of you who I have reached out to are so forthcoming, and are more than keen to be here. So thank you so much, Kavita. It was indeed absolutely wonderful interacting with
thank you,
you.
thank you so very
And
much, thank you for having me.
I'm going to wait for that poem to be posted by you.
I will,
Yeah. So
yeah,
thank you
will do.
so much. Thank you
And
so
thank
much.
you to everyone whomsoever were around during this conversation. And I'm sure post this conversation, people are going to watch it as well. So I'm sure Ekta has all the, I mean, uh, it is a credit to her only, because she started this such a beautiful discussion. But even I will look forward to your comments and your, inputs, because we all are here to learn. Yeah. So
Absolutely, absolutely. We in fact we have Rashmi Sangateria saying that जब हम values को respect करते हैं तो बच्चों को सिखाने ही नहीं पड़ेगा, वो अपने आप सीख जाते हैं, So there are people
true,
who are
true.
watching you and are giving good comments, and I'm sure there'll be
Thank you.
many more that will come. So thank you so much,
Thank you.
Kavita
Thank
and
you so
everybody.
much.
We'll be back again, this time very soon, with yet another very empowering mother. And that soon is as soon as tomorrow. So
Oh,
till then, stay tuned.
wow.
Signing off, Ekta Sehgal Malhotra. Thank you, Kavita. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being
Thank
with
you
us.
so
Thank you
much.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
dear.
Bye bye. Bye.
Bye bye.